Welcome to Into the Mind of a Madman. You are now rocking with me, the Madman, and today's conversation is about knowing the law. I wanted to do a part two to knowing the law because the first part was more so about the interaction with police officers, and this one I wanted to really touch on the people knowing the law. Now, I don't believe that we should become lawyers, but in the base of life, wherever your 2 feet is planted, or you're traveling, or whatever you want to say, you need to know the law of where you are. Simply having a understanding of, well, I'm not gonna do anything that go against the law, but you don't know what the laws you can be going against. It don't make sense. As they say, ignorance of the law is not helpful. Is like no excuse for is no excuse. What is it? Ignorance of the law is no excuse. They'll tell you that in court, like a judge will tell you that, because just because you didn't know don't mean you can't be charged with something. And for you to just say, well, I'm going to just be a good on my best behavior, I'm going to be good, without you actually knowing what you may be facing, it that's ignorant. You see what I'm saying? So, for one, I believe us as Americans, since a lot of the things that we do are based in legalities, far as all of the contracts we'll sign in our lives, all of the contracts we go through on our phone, far as getting acquiring certain apps and being on your computer and requiring certain apps, and we legally sign away a lot of things, and all of these terms of agreements come up and we really don't know. So I believe part of school curriculum should be to teach us law, especially the law within the state we live in, the law within the country we live in, the law within the counties we live in. Certain rights need to be taught in school so we do have a grasp of just even communicating with lawyers, communicating with a judge on our own behalf. Now, wherever your 2 feet are, you need to know the law. And because when we come in contact with the law, which more so we have a 99% chance of, like I said, this is outside of interacting with police officers. It's just about, if you want to do certain drugs, you want to carry firearms, you want to drive on the road, you want to move in certain ways, you have to know what is legal where you are, what is legal where you're traveling through, and what is legal to where you're going to be. Now, I want to make a brief, quick left turn to the understanding of us in the United States of America, which is very liberal, very free compared to other countries. We as Americans have to stop thinking just because it's cool in America, just because it's not a big deal in America, that when we travel to other countries, that it should be, it ain't a big deal. No, a lot of the drugs, a lot of the firearms, a lot of the language, a lot of being a woman are are privileges that we have in America. A lot of these countries don't even look at women to be on the level of men. A lot of these countries don't look at the drugs that we may be legal, or you it's like maybe a slap on the wrist here in America. A lot of Like a lot of countries don't use guns and firearms. Like it, you see what I'm saying? Like just these privileges, and when we travel abroad, we take them for granted, and we start moving like we can, and we don't know how they view things, and we go to these resorts, we step into these airports, and we step like if there is not a real uh boundary of where these of what is acceptable or not. And we see these celebrities go to certain places, and your celebrity doesn't get you out of knowing what you can do and what you can't do. And for a lot of the times, these other places, even here in America, a police officer may lock up a celebrity quicker because they get more notoriety for it. So sometimes your celebrity can go against you on certain things. It can go with you on certain things, and it can go against you on certain things. But back to just being outside of the country, I just implore anybody who's stepping foot outside of a country, especially women, know where you're going, because certain, like I said, you being a woman, for you, certain language, certain activities that we are kind of used to in America, it just doesn't fly in these places. All right, now back to knowing the law here. I believe it should be taught to us in school. I believe we need to know the law, so when we interact with the law, we know how to present it to a lawyer. We know how to present it in a courtroom. We know how to present it to a judge, a magistrate, who's ever in charge. Now, where I wanted to go with this particularly, and what I really wanted to say was, with knowing the law, and when we come in contact with the law, we need to start documenting, as police officers may document, as detectives may document. When we come encounter with police officers, we need to start documenting what happened. So now when we go take it to court, we have a real list of what laws were broken, what violations weren't handled correctly, what violations you can charge the police with, what violations you can charge somebody doing you wrong, your accountant with. Because now that now when we take into our own hands and really get an understanding, and stop just being regular people per se, and just leaving it up to our lawyers, we can bring to our lawyers, look, I was dealing with this person. Like I said, I'm not even really talking about just police interaction. I'm talking about even dealing with people at your job, or dealing with people in the street. Look, I started a business. I employed this person to do my accounting. They did this, they did that. This was against the law. They're charging me for this and that. And like I said, what I really want to get to is documentation of it. Once we know what the violations are, now we can properly document it and stop going off of our memory, because cases, as you may not know, or maybe you do know, if somebody violates you today, your day in court may not come until a year or two later. See what I'm saying? So, just as police do, we need to start documenting properly the course of actions that happened as they happened, when they happened. So 2 years from now, we can go back to our files and say step by step what happens. But first, it requires us knowing the law. Because when we like I said, 2 years later we start talking back. When we get in court or we get in front of our lawyers or we get in front of a arbitrator or whoever, if we can't properly communicate what happened, what was what was unjust within our interactions, we end up losing. We end up paying a lawyer for 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 something they can't properly defend because it's like they don't know the complete story of it. That was the main point of this part two. It's not to really be long winded. I really just wanted to push the fact that we as a people need to start opening up these law books. So when we when we have the communication between us and other people, us and our lawyers, that we know what we start seeing and recognizing what's wrong, seeing things that's out of place. People can't just walk, pull the wool over your eyes per se. And again, back in part one, I say the law is not fought outside of a courtroom. But when people, however, when people do see somebody and recognize they are knowledgeable, they start to not do things to break that. And the chances are, when you stating certain things, like say in the presence of a police officer, you stating certain things in the presence of an accountant, a lawyer, a doctor, you stating certain things, they'll see that you are knowledgeable and they won't try to take advantage of you because they know what you know that they know. That makes sense. So I just want us to really get an understanding. I really wanted us, like I said, I really wanted to make the community, us communicating, us knowing what the law is, help us communicate. It also help us recognize. And I really wanted to drive that point home. And like I said, know wherever your 2 feet are, where you that's where you can be charged. Whether you are traveling in the airport, understand the things that go on at the airport is different from the things that go on at your house. You may have a legal gun at your house, but it's not legal in the airport because airport security is a thing. Too many things are happening on a plane to where the slightest misstep by a TSA agent will make them liable to billions of dollars, millions of people, thousands of people. Something happened on that plane. Somebody said something online and they just let that slide, and now that same person takes that energy onto a plane, and and it gets back that, oh, that person said this and you just ignored it. That's millions in lawsuits. So yes, certain language is not allowed at the airport. Certain actions are not allowed in the airport. Certain liberties are not allowed in the airport because the liability is too great. And I just wanted to say, like I said, that's all I wanted to say. And Just please start picking up some more law books. Please start doing some more research. And please understand the liberties that we have here in the United States. It doesn't just go for everybody. It's not the freedoms of the world. Thank you, and I'm out.